Do you know what is the most annoying thing about evolution and just evolving into a completely different person? Just the fact that this whole thing is cyclical. So instead of it being a matter of it just being linear and you're just growing from step to step, from strength to strength, you're going in and your confidence is just, boosting. Instead of it being like that, it works in a cycle, and you get to a point where you're so confident in this season, you're so confident in everything, and then you have to start again because the cycle starts again. And to an extent, it's almost like you're learning the same lesson, but in a completely different language, in a completely different font. And I think I to an extent identifying that is cool and great and stuff, but it's like, oh my goodness, going through it. I am going through a stage and I am going through a season where I quite literally have to relearn myself again. I am going through a season where literally everything I thought I once knew about myself, everything that I thought I once knew about my journey, I have to start again. And I was literally thinking about it. I was meditating on it a few days ago, and it just was really frustrating because it's like, why is this happening at a stage where I thought that I had it all together? Why is it falling apart now again? I'm tired. I just want everything to be steady. But that's not what growth is it, And I think to an extent, many of us battle with accepting this. Many of us battle with accepting the fact that things you rebuild yourself only to fall apart, and then you rebuild and you fall apart, and you rebuild and you fall apart. I remember I was writing about it like a few days ago, speaking about how nature, it's so cool how nature is your greatest teacher. And when you think about it, when it comes to trees, like thousands of trees during winter lose all of their leaves, and they don't get to keep the ones that they like, they don't get to keep the ones that they're fond of, they lose all of them. And to an extent, evolution is like that. Growing into a different person is exactly like that. It's like, I'm comfortable with who I am, I'm comfortable with where I am, I'm comfortable with my habits, but now you're telling me that I need to change everything. I need to change everything. It's so funny how we're so quick to ask God to answer our prayers and stuff like that, but what we say in the fine print is, let everything else change and let me stay the same. Like the parts of myself that I am most fond of, be it my past, be it my preferences, let me at least hang on to those. It's like, God, I want this opportunity, but this opportunity mustn't now expect me to wake up at a certain time to do a certain thing, to save up a certain amount of money, because I'm not going to do that. And I think that's just the one thing about letting go. You need to be able to accept the fact that evolution comes with letting go and redefining, and letting go and redefining, and letting go and redefining, because at the end of the day, what peace once meant in one season does not mean the same in another season. What happiness once meant in one season is not the same as what it's going to mean in another season. You are constantly going to have to redefine yourself. You are going to have to constantly relearn yourself. You are going to have to constantly change. And it is so uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, your willingness to do it will always reflect your willingness to grow. Because for as long as you're saying, God, change everything but me, you're missing the whole entire opportunity to grow into a new person, into growing into the person who is able to attract certain opportunities. It's like, God, change this, but let me keep that. You need to let go. I need to let go. We need to let go. We need to let go, and let go in love. Don't let go in fear. Don't let go in doubt. Don't let go in, but I need to know what happens next. Let go of yourself. Who you once were is not who you are now. Who they once were is not who they are now. Isn't it crazy how every species ever has had to evolve to fit its environment? Not the environment having to evolve to fit the species. Nature and our environment changes at a slower pace than we have to change to evolve and to fit into that environment. You need to understand that to an extent, one of the primary objectives of us being here is to evolve. Because the most beautiful thing about evolution, the most beautiful thing about growing into a new person is that whether you intend to or not, other people, you are encouraging quite literally other people to see far more than they ever have seen, to see that actually like change is possible. I can go from this and into that. I can change. But you need to start with being able to accept that you need to let go of certain things, certain definitions of certain things. I can safely say that in this season, so many things that in the beginning of the season felt like they were healing. Now that I look at it, they're not healing anymore, they're damaging. What something once meant isn't always what it's going to mean. And that's why you need to be able to practice detachment. Because to an extent, you can't ask God for things when you haven't cleared and made room for that. But honestly, all this to say that you need to be okay with letting go of yourself. And you need to also be okay in understanding that where you were once confident in one area of your life, you letting go would mean that you might lose that confidence and have to re-find it again. It's okay. That is part of growth. In one area where you felt so sure, you might not feel so sure of it in the next chapter, and that's okay. But you need to accept the fact that a big part of growth, a big part of evolution is letting go of what you once knew. Anyways, I will see you in the next one.